Uh, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello, everyone. Sorry so much for the technical difficulties, which includes, I just see that I lost my virtual background. But you are seeing my lovely, I'm going to throw something up there that looks a little bit more professional. Sorry about that. Okay, that's a little bit better. So sorry for the technical problems. Seems that Michiels School is not working as well as we had hoped this afternoon, this morning, this evening, wherever you are. But we're here now. So thanks so much for joining us. My name is Jeanne Weckler, and I'm in charge of marketing for the Master in Management at ESCP Business School. I'm located on our Paris campus. Joining me today are two student ambassadors who have been very kind to spend their time with me on this Saturday afternoon. They are Franziska Michiels and Othmane Rahmouni. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves in just a moment, but before I do that, let me just tell you how this session is going to work today. We have a presentation that's normally designed to last about half an hour. I think I'll try and do that a little bit more quickly, just so that we can make sure that we have lots of time for your questions. Please feel free to ask questions at any time during the presentation. Another thing that Franziska and Othmane will be doing today is answering all your questions live while I'm talking and they're talking. And those questions that we can't get to, we will answer as many as we can up until the end of the session, which is to say 2:30 p.m. That's CET. At which point we're going to ask you to revert back to the virtual open day where all the students and staff are available to answer your questions. Okay, so that was a little bit of the housework that needed to be done. If I could ask you now, please, to introduce yourselves. Franzi, would you like to start?
Yes, thank you very much. So hi, my name is Franzi. I'm very happy to be able to talk to you today. I'm almost finished with the Master in Management program, so this is basically one of my last weeks at the school. But before I joined the MiM program in 2019, I was studying psychology. I did the bachelor in Vienna and in Budapest, and then I decided to join ESCP in 2019. And yeah, basically I wanted to see all the campuses. So I started in Turin, then I moved to Madrid, I moved to London, then I took a gap semester and worked in Berlin. And now I'm in my last semester in Paris. I decided to choose Spanish as my language studying at ESCP. And I did a specialization in business consulting in London, which is also in line with the majority of the internships I did. So I worked for Deloitte, I worked for EY Parthenon. And now after ESCP, I'll also work as a business consultant. So feel free to ask me any questions in the chat.
Okay, so hello everybody, I'm Othmane Rahmouni. I'm from Morocco. So I joined the ESCP in the summer of 2020. And before joining ESCP, I've got an engineering degree. I've started my ESCP journey from the Turin campus. So we're in Italy. I've stayed there for the first semester. In the second semester, I joined the Paris campus, in which I've pursued the sustainability and financial reporting for the CFO specialization. And currently, I decided to do a gap year, and I'm currently carrying out an internship at La Société Générale here in Paris. So I'm really delighted to be in this presentation today, and looking forward to responding to your queries. Feel free to ask.
Great, thanks so much, guys. Just one point, just to make sure, I have disabled the chat just so that we can try and manage the question and answers better. So if you have any questions, if you could please put them in the Q&A box. Okay. So if you don't know ESCP Business School, there are two most important things you need to know about us. And that is that we're the world's first business school because we're established in 1819. So with over 200 years of experience, I think it's safe to say that we know what we're doing. We've been doing it for a while. The other most important thing you need to know about us is that we are located in 6 different countries. Franzi did almost all of them. We have campuses in Berlin, London, Madrid, Paris, Turin, and Warsaw. The slogan of ESCP Business School is "It all starts here," because when you join us, you're starting the next step in your journey towards a successful international business career. We do specialize in cross-cultural business education, and we can do that mostly because of the fact we're located in so many different countries. We have faculty from all over the world and students from all over the world. We offer our students a global perspective on management issues, but with a very deep European grounding. And we have a strong connection with the business world for many reasons, one of which is because we're actually located in the city centers of our cities. So that makes it easy for companies to come to our campuses and make presentations. They participate in courses, so you'll have lots of working professionals coming in and participating classes. They're coming in and recruiting our students. So we do have a very strong connection with the business world. We have 170 research active full faculty members and 800 affiliate and visiting professors. 68,000 alumni who are working on every continent across the world. Of course, these people are very valuable assets to our students and to the whole ESCP community, because they are the people who help find internships, they help find jobs, they will help us, they'll help you find a supplier someday if you want to launch a product in wherever in China, then you can reach out to our alumni there, and they are there ready to help. Finally, the last figure to share with you is that 8,000 students are currently enrolled at ESCP across all of our programs and across all of our campuses, and they represent 118 different nationalities. So along with those over 200 years of existence, we like to say that we have a history of excellence, and we're very humble. The two main indicators of that is the fact that we have the main accreditations that you should be looking for when you're looking for business education, and that is the AACSV, which is from the United States, and EFMD, or EQUIS, which is from Europe. We also do very well in the rankings, I'm very pleased to say. In the Financial Times and the Economist rankings are the ones that we look at the most because they're the most international. We are ranked number 2 for our Master in Finance program and number 7 for the Master in Management program. In the Economist, we're also ranked number 7 for the Master in Management, and these rankings, of course, are all worldwide. So in a nutshell, who is the MiM for? It is for students with previous studies in any field. As you can see with the 2 students who's joined me today, neither of them have previous business studies. So about 75% of our students do have previous business studies, whether it's a bachelor, a BBA, or a bachelor in management or economics or finance, but many of them don't. We look for students who have very diverse profiles, so very different educational backgrounds as well as cultural backgrounds. You do not need any previous work experience, although coming into the master segment of the program, students have on average about 1.5 years. But you do definitely need to be internationally minded, and you have to have an excellent academic record. In a nutshell, again, what is the MiM? What is it made up of? So it's a general management program with a minimum of 2 specializations. Currently, we have 61 different specializations on offer with 300 electives to choose from. I can't see my slide because it's kind of hidden. The program lasts either 2 or 3 years, and you can study in up to 5 different countries over the course of the program. Integral to the studies and the curriculum are internships. They take part over the course of your studies, and you have to have a minimum of 9 months of internships or professional experience in order to graduate. You can also obtain up to 5 different degrees without leaving the ESCP campuses. And finally, you will be building your cultural intelligence with the 1,300 other students in the MiM from around the world. So let's see if you guys are awake and paying attention today. Can you tell me which region of the world you're from? And that didn't work. Oh, sorry. Hold on one second. I lost my controls. My goodness, we're not having any luck with technical issues today. Oh, my polls are not part of this presentation on this platform. I apologize. So we're going to have to skip that. We will go to, my goodness. Looks like I'm missing part of my slide here, which has to do with the diversity of ESCP students in the MiM. 78% of our students come from Europe and 22 are coming from the rest of the world. Okay, let's hope the rest of this goes better. What happens when our students graduate? When we surveyed the class of 2020, they told us the following, that 97% of them found a job within 3 months of graduation. And in fact, 53% were employed even before graduation. 47% work outside of their home country. Their average annual starting salary was just under 52,000 euros per year. As far as where they're working and what they're doing, because it's a general management program and because we have a choice of so many different specializations, our students are working in all different sectors and job functions. The top 6 of the sectors are consulting, finance, banking, technology, fast-moving consumer goods, luxury goods, and agribusiness. In terms of job functions, we're looking at consultants, makes sense because a lot of them are working in consulting firms, finance, and that is of course all different kinds of finance from, excuse me, people who are working in banks to people who are working in corporate finance to traders on the trading floor. Marketing is 11%, business development is 11%, C-suite is 4%. C-suite, if you're not familiar with the term, is CEO, CFO, CMO, for example. So Chief Executive Officer, Chief Financial Officer, Chief Marketing Officer. And those of our students who are in the C-suite are the ones who are either working in or have created their own startups. And then finally, 4% of our students are project managers. So this is where our students are working for the most part. These are our top employers. They represent probably the best consulting companies and most well-known technology firms that you may be familiar with. I cannot get a break today. I've just received a message saying my internet connection is not stable. Let's hope that it holds. There's one company in here that you may not be familiar with. It's a red logo right in the middle of the screen, Rocket Internet. That actually is an ESCP startup that was started up in Berlin about 10 years ago, and they've reached such a size that they have actually started hiring a lot of our students. So they're one of our top employers. As far as how the program works, so I mentioned earlier that it can be 2 or 3 years. So the master program is a 2-year program, Master Year 1, Master Year 2. But if you so desire, you can start with the pre-master year, which is basically all of the management courses that you would have taken had you done a bachelor's degree in business, but we condensed them all into 1 year. Once you start into the master cycle, as we call it, you will have 1 semester of core courses. So all of the fundamentals of business, which include finance, marketing, strategy, operations, etc. as well as a seminar on digital transformation, super important topic today. Starting with your second semester, that's where you have almost complete flexibility in terms of what you can do in terms of courses. So you choose your first specialization in your second semester of your first year. You still have a couple of core courses that you need to take care of, but you have a specialization. And then you have the Designing Europe Learning Expedition, which we'll touch on in a second. In Master Year 2, you continue on with another specialization. And then it gets a lot more flexible because you can start going to other partner schools as well. One of the big advantages of ESCP, as I mentioned at the beginning, is that we have campuses in many different countries. So that gives you lots of opportunities to not only study in different places, but also study in different languages. We offer courses in the native languages of all of our campuses except for Turin and Warsaw. So you can do the whole program in English if you so desire, but you can also take a French track in France, a Spanish track in Spain, a German track in Germany, so that you can also work on your language skills, which are of course very, very important. In fact, today we say that it's no longer sufficient to be bilingual, you really should be trilingual. And Othmane can tell you a little bit about that. Actually, yeah, sorry, I haven't worked you guys into this presentation yet. Othmane, tell us about the languages that you speak, please.
Yes, I'm a quintilingual, so I can speak 5 languages, Arabic, French, English, Spanish, and Italian. But I would say most of people that I encounter in ESCP speak at least 3 languages.
And why and how did you learn so many different languages?
The reason why is because we are living in a globalized world, and so we are likely to meet people coming from different countries, and some people don't speak, for example, English, and you have to communicate with them. So I felt the need to learn a new language, and also, yeah, and because also it widens your career choice. For example, if you are a Spanish speaker, you have the opportunity to work on projects on Latin America and Spain, and also, for example, the more you learn, the more opportunities you get.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Othmane.
You're welcome.
So, Franzi, tell us about your experience at the Designing Europe Learning Expedition.
Yes, sure. So I was still one of the lucky students who could actually travel to Brussels. It was right before the pandemic started. So the Designing Europe seminar is basically, it's a role play exercise. It lasts 2 days, and the whole school is meeting in the European Parliament in Brussels. You have a briefing before, so you can decide what kind of role you want to play in this simulation. And in my case, we negotiated the European Green Deal. And then you can choose, for example, I chose the role of a shadow rapporteur. So you can either be more involved in it or less. And I had to draft some kind of, like a first draft on how to negotiate the deal and kind of align with all the other students who were in my party. And then if you want to be really involved, you can speak in front of the whole school, in front of the European Parliament. And I think it's a really, really great experience to learn how decision making in the European Union works. Of course, we had some advisors from the Parliament, and also from a social perspective, it was super great to meet the people from the first semester again. And it was a really, really fun activity.
Great, yeah. It's really a highlight of the program, because all of the students from all of the campuses are getting together in one location. And I understand there's a lot of learning going on during the day, but also in the evenings as well, from what I've heard.
Yeah, I can confirm that.
So you may or may not be aware that when you study at ESCP, you can earn more than 1 degree. At least you can if you just follow the rules a little bit. And the rules are pretty simple, is you just have to study on additional campuses. Well, actually, that's a rule anyway that I haven't mentioned yet, we ask all of our students to study on a minimum of 2 different campuses, because so much of our education is about intercultural learning. So when you study, everyone who comes to ESCP, the ESCP Master in Management, earns the Master in Management Grande École degree that is delivered in France. But when you study in London or Madrid or Berlin or Warsaw or Turin, if you sign up in advance, you can also get the degrees that we deliver there. So for example, if you study in Madrid, then you also get the equivalent of a master's business degree at Carlos III University. In London, it's the same. You get the European MSc at the City University of London. In Germany, it's actually ESCP. We have been designated by the German Senate so that we can deliver our own degree. But this is a very valuable asset of the Master in Management, because depending on where you're working, the employer wants to see that your degree has been delivered by the Ministry of Education of that country. But also, in any case, it looks very good on your LinkedIn that you have more than one master's degree. I mentioned earlier that the course is very flexible and you have lots of choices, amongst them being specializations. We currently have 61 specializations on offer. Here, I'm showing just a small sample of what we're offering. Our specializations have been developed by our faculty based on their expertise. Their expertise is often linked with the expertise of that country, if I may say it that way. So for example, on the Berlin campus, we have a specialization on sustainability. As you may or may not be aware, Germany has been a leader in ecological issues for quite a while. On our London campus also, for example, we have a specialization in banking and finance. Let's see, Franzi, did you mention which specializations you had taken and why?
Yeah, I mentioned when I was in London, I chose business consulting as a specialization, which I can personally recommend a lot. I think it's been like the most valuable learning for me, I think, as the course is really well thought through. I would say it's 4 different courses but with many different professors. And what is really special about it is there's one course which is a business consulting course where you actually consult a company. So you have your own team with students and you have an advisor from the school, but basically you handle the contact with the client yourself, and you really learn how to manage your own consulting project. So that's pretty unique, I would say. That was one of the reason why I chose that. Yeah.
Okay, great, thank you. Another one of the many choices that you have at the Master in Management is to study at a partner institution. So if our 6 campuses are not enough for you in terms of choice, you may also choose either to take an exchange semester at one of our 130 partners around the world, or a dual degree with one of our 44 dual degree partners. We're offering dual degrees in business. So with schools who are offering slots in their Master in Management program, but also MBA or Master in Finance. But we also have dual degree programs with, actually double degree in this case, programs with engineering schools, with an art management school, that would be Sotheby's in New York, in the fashion and luxury industry, in hospitality, and in international relations. Professional experience, super important to have if you want to jump into the job market. And as I mentioned, you will have a minimum of 9 months of professional experience by the time you graduate. On average, I think our students have at least 15 months. The thing about our internships, or the job experience requirement, is that if you do have previous work experience, then up to 16 weeks of that previous work experience can be credited. So that means you only have to do an additional 20 weeks of work experience while you are with us. However, the majority of our students take at least one gap semester, if not a full gap year, in order to take full advantage of the time you have as a student, and to take what you're learning in the classroom and applying it actually in the field. Our career services team, we have a career service team, of course. We have teams located on all of our campuses, and they offer quite a few different services. Actually, Franzi, you were telling me a little bit about that yesterday. What kind of experience do you have with our career services team?
Yeah, I was actually, that's one of the reasons I also chose ESCP, especially compared to the school I was at before. The career services is really, really great. In all kind of campuses, they have specific advices for you for the job market in the respective country. And then personally, since I was looking for a job in Germany, I had several like one-on-one interviews with the career advisors. You can schedule sessions for example, for practice cases. If you apply for consulting, they help you which websites are useful. They provide some resources, and then especially the career fairs where you can actually meet companies and get in touch with them. I think they're really useful too.
Great. Okay, now for some hard data. In terms of tuition fees at the ESCP Master in Management, for non-EU citizens, it's 19,000 euros. Sorry, try that again. For EU citizens, it's 19,000 euros per year. Non-EU citizens, 22,700 euros per year. We do have scholarships, two different types. We have scholarships based on merit, and those are for non-EU citizens, and scholarships based on financial need, and those are for EU citizens. I see my slide is acting up. I apologize for that. There are lots of scholarship sources out there. The ones that I'm listing here are based in our campus countries, so Campus France, for example, or gov.uk, but they're also platforms that have financing for students who are studying in Europe. So the application process, we have several different applications paths. It depends on which year you're applying to. So it's either the pre-master year or the master year, and where you did your previous studies. For the pre-master year, if you have done your previous studies outside of France, you will apply through something called the pre-master admission test. We have no minimum test scores, no minimum test scores. I'll say it again. For any of our admissions paths, so that's true for English exams. It's also true for GMAT or the equivalent. There's one exception, and I'll get to that, but other than that, we have no minimum test scores. Because what we're doing is we're looking at the whole application. We don't want to recruit students who only can take tests well. You know, you can get a 730 on your GMAT, but not be able to express yourself correctly. And that's not the type of student we're looking for. So for the pre-master admission test, we need you, as with all of our application paths, of course, we have an online application, which consists of, in this case, an English exam, either the IELTS, TOEFL, TOEIC, or the Cambridge. We are going to want to see your transcripts, because we're going to look at the university you went to, but also your grades. We were going to want to see either that you have received your degree or you are currently enrolled. We want to see your high school diploma and a CV. For this particular admissions path, we don't ask for a management test up front. We're going to take a look at your academic profile first, and then if we like it, we're going to ask you to sit a management test, which is actually a test that we administer ourselves, which is called the ESCP test or SHL. And then we will have you do a motivational interview. If you're applying to them, there are two different choices, and that is directly and exclusively to ESCP. And that is through the international direct admissions. The other choice that you have is through a consortium of 5 different business schools. That's called Join a School in France, also known as SAI. The procedure is pretty much the same as for the pre-master admission test, except in this case, we want to see the management test up front. So your online application is going to include a GMAT, a GRE, a CAT, or a TAJMAJ. Again, we have no minimum test scores. For the international direct admissions path, you also have the option of sitting the ESCP or SHL test. We also, for both admissions paths, want to see your English language exam. You are exempt from the English language exam if you have studied in an English-speaking country, or you're a native English speaker, of course. So that means if you studied in India, if you studied in the United States, Australia, United Kingdom, then you're automatically exempt from the English exam. If you have studied in English in Italy or in the Netherlands, for example, we're still going to want to see an English exam. The applications for these two admissions paths are open currently, and they will be open until May for the intake of September of next year. Last but not least, for students who are applying to the master year, but who have previous studies in France, we have a separate path called the Concours d'Admission Directe. This is the only admissions path for which we do have a minimum test requirement, and that is in English. I've listed the minimum scores that we're looking for in the different tests here. Other than that, the application is the same. We want to see your management test. We want to see your English test, your transcripts, your diploma. If you've been selected to come to the second round, then you will come and you will have an oral English test and a motivational interview on campus. This particular admissions path, however, is open for a very small window. It's open now, and it will close in March of 2022. So if you are currently getting your degree in France, then you need to have all of the items listed in the application uploaded by the deadline date. We cannot accept partial applications. I hope there are a couple of things that you were able to take away from this really quick presentation. I went through it quickly, and I apologize, but we were a little bit short on time because of our technical issues. And those things that hopefully you know about ESCP and the Master in Management now are that we really try and teach students to think critically about business management and ethical issues, but with a socially responsible approach. We help you build and enhance your career plans through our specialized course options and in-company work experience. And we strengthen your ability to live and work in a highly multicultural and international environment. That all said, we are happy to continue taking your questions now. We will go live with the answers up until 2:30. So we have about a little bit over 10 minutes during which we can take your questions live here, after which we'll be going back to the Master in Management Virtual Open Day platform and start answering your questions either via chat or via one-on-one meeting. So the first question that I see is from RR. I'm going to go ahead and answer that because I don't know if you guys have the answer, Franzi and Othmane, and that is, what is the average GMAT for the recent class of the ESCP MiM? What I can tell you is the average GMAT for admitted students is currently 690. But again, we do not have any minimum. Scores. Hold on, let me just do some housework here. Okay, Othmane, if you want to go ahead and take the first question that hasn't been answered yet.
Okay, I will check. So, are two reference letters required for the ESCP international admission? I think so, yes. As far as I remember, I've applied with 2 reference letters.
Yeah, that's only true for the SAI path. For the international direct, yeah, you can't know because you only did one of the 2, right? For the international direct admissions, we do not require reference letters, although we are happy to take them. I'm sorry, there's one that you skipped. Maybe you didn't see it. Actually, two. Do you accept, Blondine is asking, do you accept the TOEFL My Best Scores option? Yes, we do, I believe. Yes, we do. I don't see, yes, we do. That's the answer to that question. And then RR is asking, when are the ESCP test SHL taking place? That will take place if you make it to the second round. That will take place at the same time as your interview. So if you make it to the second round, we will send you an invitation to come and sit the interview. You will take the SHL test that same day. Okay, I'm done. Now I don't know where we are.
So I've seen another question that went unresponded. So who can apply to the pre-master, and also people already have a bachelor's degree. So basically the pre-master is made for people from class prepa, but still you can apply for the pre-master, and I guess you should have a bachelor, right, Jeanne?
Most people do. Most people do have a bachelor degree when they apply for the pre-master, but they don't have to. We only require 2 years of university studies.
Okay.
Franzi, do you want to take the next one?
Yes, the next one I see is Jasmine is asking if there's a minimum score for the SHL ESCP test, and as far as I'm concerned, there is none.
Correct.
Okay, then the next one is from Simone. What's the difference between a GMAT and an SHL? So I took the SHL test, which was on campus at ESCP. It's basically a replacement test for the GMAT. I mean, the GMAT, it's like a management test where you can apply to several business schools with. And the SHL test is the one which is provided from ESCP, and you can do it instead of the GMAT. Let me see what's next. Okay, the next question is from Maxi Sophie. Does applying directly to ESCP International Direct Admission means you won't change the campus location, or what is the difference between the two? Jeanne, I don't know, maybe you want to take this one? Or Othmane?
I think no. You're supposed to change the campuses regardless of your admission path. You are free to choose the campus you like. And as Jeanne said before, minimum we have to study in 2 campuses. So, and you cannot study in the same campus for more than 2 semesters.
Correct. It has nothing to do with the admissions path. The admissions path is just you're free to choose either the international direct admissions or join a school in France admissions path. But once you're admitted, then the program is exactly the same, and you have to study in a minimum of 2 different campuses. Absolutely. Othmane, you want to get Rohan? No. Gosh, they jump around, don't they? Sorry. Go ahead and get the next question.
Sorry. So which one should I take?
Whichever one you see is next that we haven't answered.
Yes, I think the one of Rohan, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, this year it has changed. International students do have the right to apply for apprenticeship, but this is bound to some conditions. For example, you have to speak French in order to get the apprenticeship agreement in France, and also to have done at least one semester out of France during your M1, and also to have a carte de séjour. Donc, so the French residence permit you have to get at the application date. Those are the conditions. So even if you are a non-European Union student, you can still apply for the apprenticeship.
Yeah, so the question was, can international students apply for apprenticeships?
Yeah, yes. So I just explained
yeah,
because there are a lot of novelties these years. That's why I did it.
Yeah, apprenticeships are a bit tricky. I don't mention it during the presentation because I could do a full presentation only on apprenticeships. But we do have an apprenticeship track. Just really quickly, Rohan obviously is aware of that. That's why he asked the question. You have to speak fluent French in order to do an apprenticeship because it's paid for by the French government and you're working in French companies. And you need to have a carte de séjour, a residence permit in France in order to be eligible for an apprenticeship. in a nutshell. Basically, I just give the same information Othmane did, but really quickly again. Okay, Franzi, you want to do Prince?
Yes. So the question is regarding low grades in the undergrad and the GMAT score of 630. I mean, I would personally say always just apply to ESCP because they always consider your whole profile, right? So I didn't do the GMAT, for example, I did the SHL replacement test and I didn't have any business knowledge before. And it's always like what Jeanne also thought, it's you have to have like an international mindset, you have to show that you're motivated, you have your recommendations, and I think it's always worth to apply, and then your whole profile is evaluated as a whole. So I think if, like, for example, a not super perfect GMAT score can also be, well, if you are super strong in your internships, for example, this could like leverage that out also. Then Lisa is asking if we are accepting the GMAT online test. I assume we do. Yes.
Just for everybody's information, in a couple of minutes, there's a new conference that's going to start, which is about everything about admissions and the applications. So if we don't get to your questions here, you can ask them there and or in the different booths on the event, because we're getting close to the end.
So Siley is asking about the consortium applications. I'm not sure if I know what you mean.
That's to join a school in France. That's the second. We have two different admissions paths that people can take for if they've studied outside of France. International direct admissions exclusively to ESCP. Join a school in France, the consortium, meaning one application goes to 5 different business schools. We accept both equally the same. The only difference is that when you're doing, excuse me, applying through Join a School in France, it's like a separate administrative entity. So you're not speaking directly with the business school. Whereas where you go with the international direct admission, you're speaking directly with us from the beginning, so we can guide you a little bit more closely. Othmane, you want to do Genovese?
Okay, so is it better to present a not strong GMAT score or to do the SHL test? So I would suggest if you judge that your GMAT is not strong enough, to take the SHL test in order to get the best of the two. This is my suggestion. I don't know about you, Jeanne. What do you think?
I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Also about the Tajmaj, what's the average score of the eligible score in the Tajmaj? To be honest, I have no idea.
It's 420. 420 is the average Tajmaj of people who have been admitted.
Okay.
It's not eligible. That's average of students who've been admitted. Again, we don't have any minimum eligibility scores.
Okay. I think the interviews, I don't know about because when I entered to ESCP, the interviews were held remotely. I don't know about this year, Jeanne. So for the
question is, how much time after the application deadline do we have more or less before the SHL test and the interview? So if you look at our website and the admissions tab, and you look at the admissions calendar, you'll see that there are 3 different dates on the calendar. The first one is the deadline date for the application. The second one is the interview dates. So that's the dates that you will come or you'll do the online interview and or the SHL test. They're both on the same day. And then the third set of dates is the date that you will be informed as to when you have been admitted or not. So it depends. Look at the schedule because at different times of the year, the timing is different between the first and the second steps. It can be anywhere from 6 weeks to, 4 weeks to 2 months, I think. And I think at this point we should stop. And I apologize to those people to whom we didn't get to answer the question. But to be in fairness to my colleague who's running the next conference, which I think you'll also be interested in because she's going to give you admissions information and admissions tips. And she's there together with a student ambassador who has very specific tips for the interview. We're going to end the session now. Thank you so much for attending. Again, apologize for the technical difficulties. Hopefully the next one will go better. Thank you so much, Franzi and Othmane, for your help today. And I wish you a good rest of the event, everyone. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.